you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, help is available. Please call or text 988.
The number is being given today, so we don't have to light this candle to remind us of another life lost to suicide.
There will be better days ahead. You just have to wait for them. There will be better days ahead.
Don't hesitate to reach out to someone right now.
I promise you that you are appreciated and loved.
Depression and anxiety, know that you're not alone. Need help? I'm going to ask you again. Call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. You can also text or call 988 the Suicide Crisis Hotline. I love you guys. I want you here. Please help each other.
Good evening, party people. Welcome to TCB Studios. Welcome to Burn It Down. Shout out to Jamie Bennett for the intro. Shout out to the lady behind the scenes, Renée Yaworsky. Couldn't do any of this without you. Biggest shout out as we're closing out the month of September to everyone involved in the Embracing Hope campaign. Renée, Rory, Sandy D, everyone at Socially Distant Fest. It was an honor to be part of it, something I take very seriously, and I'll do it every year. I'll do it every month, whatever you guys need. Thank you very much. It really felt good to be part of it, and I hope we made a difference with people's lives. In people's lives. Another shout out to Ruby Ray last week. Loved having you on as a guest. You were a magical human. You killed it, and you were a great guest. My guest tonight, this is one of the busiest cats on the scene. Can you tell I've been listening to a lot of jazz lately? I've been referring to friends of mine as cats. But this gentleman really is one of the busiest guys I know. Insane talent. Incredulous talent, and just wonderful to always be around. I always appreciate everything he's working on project-wise, and also just positivity. Let's jump into it because, like I said, he's a busy man, and we want to cover as much ground and burn it down. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chad Shivers.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, Tom.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. You look great.
Thanks. You do too.
I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I was thinking about this, and it's for sure a sign of us getting older, whether it's we have kids or we have puppies or jobs and us traveling. And The only time it's a guarantee to see you play sometimes is if we book a show together.
Yeah.
Is that one of the saddest things for people who just love music and live music so much?
Yeah. You know, I always, yeah, it is bad because I'm like, I'll try and book stuff that I want to see, you know, and that's like kind of my end to it, you know, because I live out in the boonies, I live out in the burbs, so it's tough for me to get in town and get in time.
Well, I feel lucky enough that there's a guarantee, and we're going to get into this, that I think I'm going to see you 2 or 3 times a year. And we might as well just at least say this. I know it's going to be around October for the surf festival we're going to talk about, and Christmas, because you and I share a brother in common by the name of Boots, Jeffrey Butzer, who has now found fame on Cosmos Creative with his new show. Oh, my goodness. I mean,
see, come on.
Him and Renée have hit a home run with this show. They are killing it. I love every episode he's done. So it's nice to know that I'll see you twice a year. But I did see you play the other day with Small Reactions, and I try to make it up to the stage to say hi. But that was at the East Atlanta Village Struts, which is always another wonderful time of year, which actually just proved my point that I've said for years. And I haven't lived in Atlanta I've lived in Atlanta on and off, but haven't lived here since 2011. And when I'm here a lot, I always say, hands down, the best time in Atlanta is the fall.
Oh, yeah.
It's like every weekend there's a chili cook-off or a surf festival, or just like the greatest event.
Porch Fest, Candler Park Fest. I mean, all the stuff going. Finster Fest, I think, last weekend. Yeah.
Yes. Every time I thought of you today, I was telling you this backstage in the green room, that every time I thought of you this afternoon, and this is a compliment, I kept on hearing, God Only Knows What I'd Be Without You by the Beach Boys.
It's my favorite song.
Well, you must have told me that once, and I know we talked about having you talk about the Beach Boys on 3 on the 1s and 2s. Also, when you do this Christmas show, you play the Ventures Christmas album, you've done the Beach Boys. Let's start there. So we share a brother in common, Jeffrey Butzer, one of my favorite people in the world, and I'm sure one of yours as well, because you guys have been working on projects together forever. And he's a living, breathing cartoon and just creative genius.
Yes.
Shout out Boots.
I think we're part of the Boot Tang clan, if you will.
That's right. You know, so what year did you meet him?
It was late 90s.
Okay, so we actually probably met him around the same time, and then I guess I met you years later through him. And then he does this wonderful with T.T. Mahoney, Charlie Brown Christmas every year. It's been easily 12 or 13 years now. And you get on there and you do the Ventures Christmas album, which is probably the best surf album, best Christmas album, and best surf Christmas album. Well, we know that it's the best surf Christmas album ever. And I mean, your band that you have is phenomenal.
Yeah, I've been playing with those guys a long time, and very fortunate to have those guys. Actually, one of them is my brother-in-law, and the other one's Sean that plays Small Reactions, and we've been playing together, over 12 years now. So, fortunate to have those guys, and for Boots to have us on the show every year, it's just a blast.
It's the best. Like I said, well, it's a guarantee that I know I'm going to see you. I absolutely love that show. And again, I mentioned this on a show recently, and then I think this thing popped up on like Facebook memories. And I had moved to New York January 1st, 2012, certainly going through some tremendous changes in my life. Wasn't in the best place spiritually or mentally, you know. And here it is, just a few months later. I know the exact date because I'm crazy. April 7th, 2012. Boots was playing at the Lit Lounge, and he goes, "You want to do a few songs?" And I did a few songs on the keys, and I remember later on, like you were whispering to Boots, like, "Sounds interesting, but every song kind of sounded the same." And by the way, they still kind of sound the same. I'm just getting more creative with my hooks and stuff. But then you guys got up and backed me up. We did, I think, a couple of Western Motel songs, and it really was a huge moment, actually, because I wasn't doing the best. I was doing far from the best. And then it was like, wait a minute. Well, I knocked that out, I checked that off the box. I'm officially a musician in New York again. And then I just started playing shows everywhere. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and that was a good time. You know, it's funny. You were like, "These are the 2 chords, go," and that was it. That was our rehearsal. Was on stage.
Yeah, and it's still to this day. It's those on the keys. I need to start going into finding those cucumbers I talk about, and the aunts and the uncles. Like, you are a fantastic guitar player, so when you're playing something, you may go to a 7th or a D, or to this minor chord that normally no one would go to, a 5th or a 7th. Like I said, we like to call them as aunts and uncles and other cucumbers and seasonings in the garden. And I need to go to those places because it's always been, flirting with these A minors, the white keys, and then there's always that easy G to E. But it's like, well, this is the way I spoke it. This is the way it came out. Let's go with it. And yeah, we just practiced and just did it on stage.
Yeah.
It was a lovely time, though. And then you guys, my brother was there. You guys absolutely killed it. It was amazing.
It was a good time. Yeah, it was an interesting time. My wife came up, and she was very pregnant, and we just walked around all over New York, and yeah, it was crazy.
Well, that's a good thing to do as a pregnant woman, and you being, expecting a child, because it's great to walk around everywhere. And New York, we know, has some of the best food ever. So you're just like, as long as we have restrooms we can go to, let's enjoy this.
Right.
Oh man, it's so wild because I think I sent you a note regarding that. Like I said, it was April 7th, 2012, which is 10 years and 5 months ago, or whatever, But sometimes it feels like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then sometimes it feels like that stuff feels like 2 lifetimes ago.
Yeah.
And being a dad now, or doing other things that you've done, or or just you've traveled and these other things you're working on, it speeds up this time process.
Flies by, man.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm here to talk about this surf festival because I love it, and I've gone to the past few, and you do so much for the community. I mean, it's got to be this huge thing. I know you have help, and feel free to talk about anyone who is involved. Like, I've met Dan before, and just because you're getting people, these great surf bands from all over the country to play.
Yeah, and we've had some international groups as well. One year we had Los Tiki Phantoms from Spain, and this year we have Surfer Joe from Italy. So, and then some national acts. But I really couldn't do this festival without my wife, Jessica. So she's like the person behind the scenes. She's like Renee, she's just putting it all together, and I get the credit, but she's really doing all the work, all the hard work. And my buddy James, he's helped with the flyer. He helps organize all the.
Shout out James. We love James. I've known him a long time. He's absolutely one of the finest humans I know. And
he coordinates all the volunteers for us. He's part of the group, the Fraternal Order of Moai. They're kind of like they're a tiki organization that does good for the community. And they work with, I think, an animal rescue. So they raise money as well. So,
oh my goodness, we're huge fans of that here. Anything to help out the people who either don't have the voice, or certainly animals. Just anything to help out the community. We are the biggest fans of that. We're big fans of do-gooders, and we love defending the underdog.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, the Mystery Men have always backlined, and we're kind of the house band. Bob Walk from the Surf King Surfwear, he's a big sponsor, and he's sponsored every year. He's sponsored every event we've ever done. City of Avondale has been really cool. They've been really helpful, not with just information and financial backing, but also their time, so.
Yeah, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I've been really fortunate, and I've been to the last few years. And last year, I was hanging out, and a gentleman by the name Steve White, shout out to Steve White, who only met a few years ago, came to Western Motel Show. He's a big fan of yours.
Yeah.
Such a nice gentleman. I hope Steve's watching. He's so nice. He bought me this drink that looked like it was blue, looked like Windex with frozen with umbrellas. But let me tell you, I drank it and it was awesome. But you from the stage gave a shout out to your wife, said none of this would be possible without her. I'm a huge fan of that. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm an old school gentleman. My dad and mom raised me right, and I know behind the scenes, most great men, behind the scenes is a great woman who's really doing the steering and making sure it happens.
Yep, definitely.
I love it, man. How many years now has this been going on? Because it's just getting big. It's so great.
This is your 7th.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, so then I think I've caught maybe 3 or 4 of them. You know, I mean, when I was in, let's see, because my brothers, Stiff Penalty and Troy and Brent, I think Fiend Without a Face did one when I was just finishing up a job in Philadelphia a few years ago. So that was great. Yeah. And then I think I caught the next few in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember what year Fiend played, but that was fun and interesting. You know, because Fiend is interesting, fun and interesting.
Well, you know, Brent and that whole band is they one of the first bands I saw when I moved here from New York, and I loved them. And exactly, amazing and fun and interesting, and you never know what you're gonna get. But clearly, it shaped kind of the career that I had, because even up until now, half that band is basically West End Motel, in the background, So what a ride, man! And I'm a big believer in all that, man. I'm here for the ride, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the good, the bad, and the queen, whatever,
I think, all those, our bands have kind of we've been in it for a long time. Like,
sure.
My band, The Squares, was around with the Rent Boys, and
yeah, I remember that. And that was, and I even remember going to Squaresville, right?
That wasn't our place, but
okay. So I remember the Squares for sure. So now that makes complete sense. So I had met Boots, and then I must have met you immediately after. I met Boots at a residence show, and then I think I went to a Squares show with him and met you.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember Rent Boys, and I think I saw you guys with the Robustos probably at the when I was underage, and and Fiend, of course. Like at the point.
What a good time. That was one of the best things about being at that strut on Saturday, is I saw some people that I hadn't seen probably since the early 2000s or the 90s, and we're chatting about that. And it was just a real positive energy with everyone. I mean, what a gorgeous day it was on Saturday. And people were just talking about, like, oh man, what a really wild, great time we had. Back then, and I'm a firm believer in make these your salad days. So I'm having a great time now. But, I never want to be like those were the days. Mm-hmm. But I do think fondly of all of them, because, like I said, I'm here for the ride, and I love all of it. And the Squares are a great band. I think I have an actual tape of yours and a CD of yours in the office.
Yeah,
like a CD-ROM, like with Squares on it and everything. Yeah, I mean, amazing. Because we all started off hand making our own. I mean, I remember early Rent Boys tapes. Each of us were able to name the album. So there might have been the same 10 songs on it, but each song, like I wrote a bike, and it's like songs to skateboards. I wrote a song, side A was songs to skateboard to, side B was songs to ride a BMX bike to. But Marlo's record was listen to this in 1987 Eldorado. Like, everyone named their own tape, and it was like 100 tapes with different names on it.
Awesome.
Oh man! And then from the Squares, like, because you have played with a lot of bands now.
Mm-hmm. A lot of too many.
Yeah, like who else over the years that have I seen you on stage with?
Some of the
James Freeman at some point.
Actually, James and I have never played together.
Wow, it was just his birthday. Happy birthday, James.
Yeah, 42.
Wonderful talent.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love James. I saw him play 2 weeks in a row. And it was so enjoyable. They played like 4 miles from my house recently.
So you've been on stage with a bunch of bands over the years. Like, you might have been a guitarist for a minute with somebody helping them out, and then you went on to do something else.
Yeah, and I've had some long-term gigs. I played with Sorry No Ferrari for about 7 years.
Great band.
Played with Sleep Therapy for a little while. I played with Boots for 10 years.
Goodness, Boots is like the congratulations to Boots being in the AJC today.
That's
really I got that text. I was at work, and he goes, "Hey, check me out, man. I made it. I made it big time twice." He's so funny. I love it. He's so much fun to play with, and you guys are magic to watch. So good.
Yeah, it's always fun, especially when we had like the big band. That was real magical for sure.
Yeah, because you guys have done elements of like it was just like the bicycle leaders. It was his surf stuff, and then moving on forward, other projects of his. You played with him.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly bicycle leaders, and then I was the bass player for the compartmentalizations for a little while.
That's right.
And then now Mitch is playing with them, which is awesome.
Yeah, I thought I saw you play with him a couple times with Midwives, but it might have been a show that you were on.
Yeah, that's possible for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, I love this, and I talk about this a lot, probably too much, but it's a positive message. And I have two marketing classes on my college resume. I didn't finish school. That's okay, but I always look at like punk rock and roll and the Star Bar, goodness gracious, and skateboarding as my fraternity. And you're my brother in that fraternity. And it's like I pretty much could sleep on a couch anywhere in the world from making a phone call saying I'm going to be in Sittard, Holland, and then the next week somewhere in Poland. And through a friend of mine who I played music with, I can probably find a couch to sleep on. And then also just hopefully just being a good person and letting people sleep on my couch. That's how you pay it forward. And I'm always so grateful for that. And it's really, really wound up being a lot cheaper than going to college, and I think I learned more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's a small world, the music world.
Yeah, it really is, and it just proves shows you that you're doing everything right with all the stuff you're doing, and doing along with this festival, which is October 8th. Everyone in Avondale Estates, don't get too nervous. It's literally 6 minutes from Atlanta. Chad, yeah. I mean, it's very close. I mean, you can take side streets from Atlanta. It's a wonderful community. The studios. Do you have the address you want to tell everyone? I mean, we're going to also share this with everyone.
It's 2834 Franklin Street in Avondale Estates, Georgia.
Yes, and it's outside, and it's the best time of year in Atlanta, and it starts at, is it noon?
Mm-hmm. Noon to about 10:30.
Yeah, and it's an awesome all-day event because artists are selling their awesome homemade creations and local record labels. And like you mentioned, I love the surf guy that you're talking about. I met him last year, got his card. Yeah, he's so great, man. And does so much for that scene and for the community.
He's just a good dude. He's my brother for sure.
Absolutely love it. And any other projects you're working on besides, because I know like you got so much going on. I was looking at you up the other day, and you've been learning another language. That's why I even said, I know you're a teacher. You teach guitar, and you are this community curator, is what I was saying to Renee. But like here, you're learning other languages. Are you going to go play in Spain with some of these surf bands?
I would love to. The plan right now is to do some extended traveling in Mexico. Starting. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going down for a short trip in December, but next summer we're hoping to spend a couple of months down there.
Oh, wonderful!
And I'm not sure, if I'll end up playing music down there or not, but I do have a lot of surf music friends, especially Mexico City. Surf music is huge in Mexico City.
Oh my goodness, I know. I absolutely love the way other countries, embrace, their own versions of rock and roll. I've spent some time in Mexico City, and let's just say every bar I was in, you either heard like Ventures and great surf music, or you heard the Smiths or the Cure, and I'm cool with all of that.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm like, this is the best ever. It just shows you that rock and roll and music is this is the most beautiful international language.
Well, and the nice thing about surf music is it's mostly instrumental. So we have a kinship all over the world because we're sharing an instrumental language. We don't have to speak words. We can speak in guitar tones and sax and drums and bass.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, I love it, love it, love it. And Friday night, you guys do a pre-party at Trader Vic's.
Mm-hmm.
That's downtown Atlanta. Trader Vic's is awesome. You should go just to have an awesome fruity drink because it rules. But that's always fun as well. And then Saturday's the main event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Trader Vic's changed my life. You can't tell from here, but you can tell with the shirt. As soon as I walked in Trader Vic's for the first time, I'm like, oh, my life's different, and my whole house is done up like Tiki Style now, other than the studio, of course. But
I love it.
Yeah, it's gotten a little out of hand, to be honest.
Tikis are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, the whole part of it's expensive, but it's escapism at its most fun.
Yes, it's part of what you call art collection. It's because it's all art, and I mean when someone makes a tiki or makes their own clothing or jewelry like this ring I got in New Mexico from a woman who made it on the street, and I mean it was just like there's a story behind it, and we love supporting the arts. And then two, how awesome is that you're wearing or you have something in your house that someone carved this tiki or someone made this necklace that you gave your wife.
Or there's a history in every drink. Every drink every tiki drink has its own myth and legend, and the person that created it and the person that said that they created it. And so it's pretty cool. It's pretty fascinating to dive in.
Yeah. And it's always moving because you're always going to learn more. I mean, it's not something that like, oh, I know everything there is to know about it now. You keep, and that's the other great thing is how many cool bands are growing because of an uncle or a friend or you turning them onto something, and then they're doing their own version of that. I mean, I remember when I saw La Bomboras in the 90s. And I think you and I shared some videos on them. That what a band that was.
Man, so great. And still, what a band that is. They're still kicking.
So that makes complete sense because I shared a video on them, and I think I said that they had split up, and you were like, Tom, they did not split up because I saw
they're back.
Yeah, I saw them at the Point in the mid '90s, and they absolutely blew me away.
Yep.
You were probably at that show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Bomboras, Satan's Pilgrims, and Fiend.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Man, goodness gracious. We are talking about like 18 years, 20 years ago, something like that. All right.
Yeah.
No, 24 years ago, 26 years ago. Oh my goodness. Now we're showing our age here. Yeah. So this thing is in the South. Will it ever go? I mean, I know it's so expensive and it takes so much time to do, but are other people doing festivals as awesome as you are in other places?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's good to know.
My buddy Jeff does the Surf Guitar 101 convention in Southern California.
Great.
It is like, it's kind of like Mecca. And it's funny because it's not as big attendance-wise as our show, but he gets the bands, and like I saw we played with the Lively ones there, and I saw the Safaris and Dick Dale's band and all sorts of folks that Paul Johnson from the Bel Air. It's just legends that like they're sitting right there, and they're
for sure.
They're nobodies to the average Joe, but like to me, those guys are my heroes. And the I grew up listening to, and the guys that we still emulate 60 years later, and they're still kicking.
Oh
So
my goodness.
that festival is a treasure. And there's the High Tide Summer Holiday up in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
They're killing it. They're probably the biggest festival in the world right now for surf music. Getting killer bands, Low Straight Jackets, Man Restaurant, Surfer Jets.
Love Great Jackets. Love Man Restaurant as well. Yeah.
Got a record label and doing really, really, really well. And then Surfer Joe, which is coming from Italy, he has had a surf music festival, but it's gotten near shut down with COVID, and they're not back yet. I'm not sure if they're going to be kicking or not.
Well, I guess the reason I was asking is because I think, and I think, well, what I'm thinking is you already knew this, so it's become like its own version for surf of something like Dragon Con, and just in every great city that's going on, or Comic Con, and then you have all these great surf bands all over the world, and it's like, well, at least you have a guarantee of four or five or six great shows a year you can go to traveling or playing.
Oh yeah. And plus the Tiki events, like they always have surf bands. They tend to have surf bands anyway as well.
I love it. I love it. Well, man, I told you it was going to go by quick, and it's 9:31 already. I'm telling everyone anyone near Atlanta, October 8th, Southern Surf Stomp Fest, 12 noon in Avondale Estates. We're going to share this with everyone. And I'm so excited. I mean, listen, I know you talked about going, doing some traveling over the holidays with your family, but you will be doing the Christmas show.
Well,
we got to talk about it. Oh no.
I will not be doing the Christmas show this year. It was my first year in, like you said, 12 or 13 years, but my band is playing. So they are doing a Christmas album and some tunes and some other things.
It's so good. And I forgot to mention you vocally, the stuff, the Beach Boys stuff you guys do. It's so good. I mean, we had just like we went and it was just such an awesome, positive night. And I remember even I had chosen not to have any alcohol for a couple of months, and right around Christmas, that's the time people normally would be putting them back, and everyone was like, you need a drink, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. And I was thinking I was drinking ginger ale and waters. Next thing I'm on stage singing with everyone, and it was just the best time ever. I'm super stoked, super thrilled to have you on my show. Yeah, we're going to get you on threes, on the ones and twos with Cassie and James at some point. Let's talk about some Beach Boys. We are going to push me, Renee behind the scenes. Everyone at Cosmos is going to push the Surf Fest. Shout out to Jamie Galatis and all the dudes and the Mystery Men. All the other bands playing. Thank you for always being so kind to me and your friendship. I always love seeing you, and I'm super excited to have you on my show.
Thanks. And can I mention one more thing about Stomp Fest?
Yes, please.
All right. The biggest thing, y'all, is it's free, So
yes.
So if you are just curious about surf music or just want to go shopping for the holidays or whatever, it's family friendly, and you can bring your dogs. Like you said, it's outside. We got foods, we got booze, we got food, we got booze, we got over 25 vendors. It's going to be nuts. So, yeah.
Yes, and the best music and the best people and the best vibes, because it's the fall in Atlanta and it rules. And you rule, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, cheers, everyone. Thank you guys for watching, everybody. Thank you.
Cheers.